let's get right to it. We're taking a deep dive into the flat Earth delusion. And to be clear, this isn't a debate. It's an examination of a deeply flawed belief system, and we're not going to pull any punches.
I mean, seriously, this question right here cuts through all the noise. It really is the core of the issue. You look up during a lunar eclipse, you see a perfectly round shadow crawling across the moon, and your brain concludes, pancake? We're going to explore how anyone gets to that point.
Now, you might think this is some new thing, a product of YouTube algorithms and internet forums. Oh no, this delusion isn't new. It's not even original. It's just a recycled scam from the 19th century dusted off for a new generation.
Look at this timeline. It's just wild. Over 2,300 years ago, Eratosthenes figures out the Earth is a globe and its size, with nothing but sticks, shadows, and his brain. Then, 2,000 years later, a guy named Samuel Robotham kicks off a grift that gets passed down through a series of other hucksters who figured out there was money to be made selling nonsense.
They gave it a fancy name, of course, zetetic astronomy. Sounds important, doesn't it? It's just a Greek word for to seek. But what they were really selling was Victorian-era snake oil. They'd point at optical illusions, things that happen with perspective over long distances, and call it scientific proof to sell pamphlets to people who, well, didn't know any better.
And here is the grifter's Bible, the exact same playbook they use today. You sell confusion as some kind of grand revelation. You hold conferences instead of doing real, repeatable experiments. You turn a lack of knowledge into a subscription service, an exclusive club, and you profit because most people are too polite to call an idea what it is. Ridiculous.
All right, let's fast forward. The old scam got a 21st century upgrade thanks to social media. Now the same tired ideas can spread like wildfire. Welcome to the modern-day ego carnival.
So who actually falls for this stuff? Well, you've basically got three camps. First, there are people who are just looking for a community, a place to belong. Then you've got the literalists, who want simple answers to big questions, even if those answers are complete fiction. And finally, you have the contrarians, the folks who think that just by disagreeing with everyone, they must be the smartest person in the room.
So what powers this whole machine? Oh, it's a beautiful psychological principle called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's the engine that drives this entire movement. Put simply, it's when people who know the absolute least about a subject are the most confident that they are experts. It's the peak of Mount Stupid.
And this right here, this is the emotional shield. It's how they protect their egos. They rebrand being wrong as being brave. They're not misinformed, they're courageous truth seekers fighting the establishment. It's a neat little trick to avoid the shame of being utterly, demonstrably incorrect.
And you just have to love the hypocrisy. It is spectacular. They'll stand on stage and scream that NASA is lying and that satellites are a hoax while live streaming their conference to the world using, you guessed it, satellite internet. They'll tell you global travel is a conspiracy while boarding a plane that navigates using spherical trigonometry. The cognitive dissonance is staggering.
Okay, enough about the history and the psychology. Let's talk about the one thing they can't argue their way out of: reality. This is where the debate just stops, because the evidence is overwhelming, and it has been for centuries.
This is the classic, the OG proof. Anyone can do this. Go to the beach, watch a tall ship sail away. It doesn't just get smaller and smaller until it's a dot. No, the hull vanishes first. It sinks below the horizon, followed by the mast, from the bottom up. That can only happen one way, on a curved surface. Period.
Let's just let this number sink in for a second. 2,300 years. That's how long we have known with mathematical certainty that the Earth is a globe. This isn't new science. The math was done. It still works.
And let's go back to the shadow on the moon. It's simple geometry, people. During a lunar eclipse, the Earth moves between the sun and the moon, casting its shadow. That shadow is always a round arc. What's the only 3D shape that casts a round shadow no matter how you turn it? A sphere. End of story.
How about modern technology? Global logistics. A non-stop flight from Santiago, Chile to Sydney, Australia is a routine flight path. On a globe, it makes perfect sense. It's a straight shot over the Antarctic region. On their flat map, the plane would have to travel an impossible distance, basically requiring teleportation. It's complete nonsense.
And honestly, that's just scratching the surface. There's a mountain of other evidence they just have to pretend doesn't exist. High-altitude weather balloons, launched by amateurs, clearly capture the planet's curvature. Foucault's pendulum, hanging in museums worldwide, physically demonstrates the Earth's rotation. Gravity itself explains why any object with enough mass pulls itself into a sphere. They just plug their ears and hum.
So, where does that leave us? Well, after looking at the history, the psychology, and the undeniable physical evidence, we're left with a crystal clear picture. This isn't about a search for truth. It's about ego, community, and a profound distrust of science itself.
So, here's the takeaway. The next time you hear someone say, "But the horizon looks flat," you know exactly what to tell them. So does their logic.